I came across an article regarding how much cooler it is to believe in Christianity than to be an atheist. As my viewers know, I'm somewhat of an expert on being cool. As I've mentioned before, charisma should be your dump stat. It's been shown in the prequels that even a fully trained Jedi is not all-powerful and can do anything, so one who is just scratching the surface obviously had very limited abilities. A thumper? You mean like the devices used to beckon the great sandworms, which were instrumental in the creation of the spice melange?
You better make sure you put me in my place. You hit me with your best shot.
Let's do this!
Oh god.
Yep, paragon of coolness. Let's see what he has to say. I've read a number of stories about how atheism is seen as cool by many young people, especially among college-age youths. That's funny to me because I can't think of anything less cool than being an atheist. Yes, how cool a belief is makes all the difference, because I base my understanding of the universe on how it aligns with the Fonz.
And what's Fonzie like?
It's cool.
What?
Cool.
Correctamundo.
Honestly, never watched an episode of it. Thank goodness for pop cultural osmosis. If we're going to try to understand the universe and our part in it, we need reason and evidence, not some nebulous qualifier like how cool a belief, or lack of one, is. The universe won't suddenly go from not having a creator to having one simply because a majority of the population thinks it's hip or in to believe or not. So, just in case any young people are reading, here are 8 reasons that atheism is the uncoolest choice ever. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt here. I think he meant uncoolest choice. Uncool sounds extra sweet. It's in, and it's cool. Can't argue with that. 8. Religious people live longer, happier lives, according to numerous scientific studies. I know you atheist types are all about the science, even though you pretty much get all your scientific information from HuffPo articles with clickbait headlines like, "Watch Bill Nye completely own a creationist," or "How rolling your eyes is the greatest debate tactic against Christians." But I guess because you're an atheist who will live a shorter life, maybe you don't have time to read actual scientific journals. I mean, something's got to be cut out, right? I don't know about the percentage who read them, but from what I understand, a much higher percentage of those who write those papers will be non-believers compared to the rest of society. I don't discount the studies. If they're accurate, we have to accept them and figure out what they mean. But on top of shorter lives, studies indicate you'll be more miserable too. So while your life won't be longer, it might just feel that way. This is a fact. Studies have shown that in predominantly religious countries, like America, atheists do live shorter lives than theists. According to this guy, it's cool to get old and decrepit? I thought the line was, live fast, die young, and leave a good-looking corpse. There are several ideas as to why this is. A religious community will foster a sense of togetherness, which is a strong psychological advantage. The placebo effect has shown that people who believe they're being taken care of will have a positive reaction to their own health. And that sense of togetherness can apparently reduce blood pressure and stress, which are major health concerns. So it's not simply being religious that promotes better health, but being in a community that gives a feeling of support to each other. In this case, just a religious majority can assist in being healthier. Another is that as an atheist, I don't have a reason to continue my life if it's no longer going to be worth living. I've talked at length in my other videos about how assisted suicide should be legal and accepted, and conversely, many religions have a prohibition about taking their own lives. If we follow the logic, non-believers will be more willing to end their lives earlier than believers, lowering their average life expectancy. 7. Michelangelo and Bach, look 'em up kids, were indisputably awesome Christian artists. That's true, they were fantastic artists, and it goes without saying that their beliefs influenced and even drove their work. But that doesn't mean their beliefs were right, only that they believed them. But hey, atheists have the kid who plays Harry Potter. Do you really don't want to be part of any group that includes the actor formerly known as Harry Potter? Or maybe you do because that's how uncool you actually are. Yeah, false equivalency. Because I'm in the same group as the guy who as a kid played a wizard in some films, I should, what, be ashamed of the fact that he and I share a disbelief? Also, the authors of those books is Christian and admits that Christian themes and influence run through the stories. Do you really want to be part of any group that includes the creator of Harry Potter? Or do you plan to drop your beliefs if they're similar to Roland's? Honestly, it shouldn't be a pejorative in either case. They're decent stories. Michelangelo was never photographed like that. Ever. Well, that one's true. I don't think Michelangelo was photographed in any way at all. And of course, he would never have anything to do with undressed young men. Ever. 6. Typical atheist gathering. World Youth Day. See the difference? Yep, you got more people on your side. Gotcha, because nothing says cool like following the herd. The popularity of an idea has no significance to its actual relevance in the real world. Yes, Christianity, if you include all the sects. If you include all of its religious sects, Christianity is currently the largest religion on the planet. So, you're saying that makes it right? Only a few millennia ago, Christianity was a tiny cult in the Roman Empire before it exploded. Was it incorrect when it just had a few followers, but as soon as it represented the majority of the planet, it was the truth? I don't think that's how reality works. And if another religion, or even non-belief, surpasses it in popularity, does that mean you'll convert because the new system has more followers? 5. Most of your big-time mass killers of the 20th century were atheists. I'm talking Stalin, Mao, and Che, among others. These guys had the kind of body counts that there weren't enough body bags for, so bulldozers needed to be employed. And nothing says uncool like being a mass killer of the innocent. The classic, those people were bad, they were non-believers, therefore all non-believers were bad. Even I say that people like Stalin, Mao, and Guevara did things I find horrific. But that does not mean their disbelief was incorrect. The Inquisition, the Crusades, religious wars, I doubt any of those would be considered cool, but don't dictate the nature of the universe in any direction either. 4. This is an extreme Christian. This is an extreme atheist. See the difference? Come on, you should know better. Dawkins is an ass, but he's hardly the worst example of an atheist out there. In your previous point, you brought up Stalin and Mao. You could have used one of them as an example of an extreme atheist. Would have made a much better example than a guy who knows biology really well, but is kind of arrogant and annoying. As for Mother Teresa, I'm not a fan of his, but Hitchens already did a thorough job of dissecting her actions and how she was more into prolonging and promoting suffering than actually helping anyone but herself and her church coffers. 3. As a Christian, my wife looks at me like I'm a gift from God. Seriously, to her, that's what I am. Your atheist girlfriend, should you ever get one after you move out of your stepdad's basement, will see you as a gel-haired accident in skinny jeans on a lonely rock orbiting a meaningless sun in a mistake of a universe. See the difference? It's kind of a big one. In other words, despite the fact there is no guiding force controlling our lives, my wife and I managed to find each other and build an awesome life together. I find that even more inspiring. I really hope that you and your wife are as happy together as my wife and I are, but we don't need to believe we were gifts to each other from a deity. We are simply two people who found each other on a fetish messaging board looking for quick boning one night, and once he met, fell in love. Damn right. And we constantly work to make each other happy. Not because we believe a deity thinks we should be given as gifts, like a sweater or a book. We're together because we love and have committed ourselves to one another. Oh, and the gel hair comment? I wish that was the case. The gel I can wash out, leaving the hair behind. 2. Many of your college professors agree with your atheist beliefs. How's that for the uncoolest choice ever? Hey, look at you siding with all the gray-haired, tweedy authoritarian types at your school. Note, if your best friend at college is the diversity awareness coordinator, you're colleging wrong. And if you think your professors are cool, I think they call that a brown-noser. And brown-nosers are even less cool than gender studies majors. No, brown-nosing is when you don't respect somebody, but suck up to them anyway. I took a variety of courses in university, which means I had a variety of teachers. Of them all, I can count the number of teachers who ever discussed their beliefs on one hand, and the majority of them were believers. 2 of them were my religious studies professors. My Western religious class was taught by a Christian, and my Eastern religious professor was a Buddhist who came to Alberta because of the plethora of temples out here. I knew my general humanities professor was a believer, but he never said what he believed in. The only teacher that I knew was an atheist was the political scientist who taught courses in anarchy, and that only came up peripherally. Since I'm a socialist, he and I disagreed on a lot of things, but we just happened to share non-belief in a deity. You know, when the whole 60s thing happened, young people would say not to trust anyone over 40. But now, you guys go off to college wanting nothing more than to adopt the beliefs of your old, boring professors. I didn't go to school to adopt the beliefs of my teachers. I went there to learn from them. They were all experts in their fields, and I respected that. Despite what God's Not Dead claims, the professors weren't trying to convert anyone to their way of thinking, just try to get us to think. I felt no need to emulate them in all personal aspects. I was, and hope to continue to be, my own person. The best teachers wanted us to disagree with them, to try to think and find flaws in their arguments. They were willing to be corrected if it could be shown with logic and evidence. What could be less cool than wanting to be like your teacher? except if your teacher is Tony Solon, then it's okay. Of course, if it's someone that already agrees with you, then it's cool. So it's not being a professor that determines if you should listen to them, just if your preconceived ideas already jive with theirs. That's not learning, that's parroting, or, as you put it, brown-nosing. 1. Atheists have less children, and that probably means, well, you know what that means, since you're all about science. It means that we understand how birth control works, that we can plan ahead, that we aren't contributing to the overpopulation of an already strained world? Or are you saying it's because we don't f*** as much as you folks? I'm sterile now. That doesn't mean my sex life suffered, just that I'm not having any more kids. I have to admit though, that's a first. I don't think I've ever heard a Christian say, "Hey, come join our religion, there's so much boning going on." Seriously, this is actually a problem. In America, the states that are the most religious have the least comprehensive sexual education, which includes teaching kids about birth control. This leads these states at the highest levels of teenage pregnancy. My wife actually thought this would be a good platform for a PSA on the subject that she wrote. This is a condom. Hold up condom. It's a... oh, guess that's a stage direction. Should have read this ahead of time. This is a condom. It's a simple sheath that fits over the penis. It's an extremely effective block, when used properly, can prevent both pregnancy and the spread of disease. Boys, girls, if you're going to have sex and you don't want either of these to happen, carry one just in case, for you or your partner. Especially if you don't want your significant other finding out what you're doing behind their back. Is there something she's trying to tell me? Once again, to sum up, you'll be miserable, have a shorter life, and quite likely less sex than your religious counterparts. And you thought atheism was cool? No, I don't consider if it's cool or not. It's just how I understand the universe. I don't take my lack of belief in a deity as a social standing. I simply have to be honest with myself and say, I don't have any evidence for any gods, so I have no reason to believe.
Fucking